Alright, hello everyone. Let's do this. Let me quickly fix my settings, and then today we will be writing a smart contract with OpenAI's ChatGPT tool. So I hope everyone is ready. I hope everything is okay with me, with my microphone and everything. Alright, so let's just get started. Let me just pause this music for a second. Alright, welcome everyone to the fourth episode of DevLog. Today we'll be writing a smart contract using OpenAI's ChatGPT. So if you haven't heard about OpenAI's ChatGPT, let's just go here. Let me first clear the previous conversations. Alright, so right now on my screen you're seeing OpenAI's ChatGPT. ChatGPT was launched by the company OpenAI for people to have conversation with an artificial intelligence or a language model, and people can create lots of different things. And there are a few examples on the screen right now. You're seeing them. One of them is like if you ask the chat GPT, like explain quantum computing in simple terms, and then all you have to do is just like hit, and then as you can see, the OpenAI's chat GPT is just, prompting the information that you were looking for. Now, the source of that information, prior to 2021, the team behind the ChatGPT fed a lot of data to that language model so that the OpenAI language model learned how to generate responses like human. And not just the quantum computers, not just like anything scientific, you can ask anything you want. For example, now we can ask the chat GPT, like, can you tell me a few sentences about Solidity programming language, because that's the one that we'll be using today. And then the chat GPT provides the information to you. So it says, what is Solidity programming language, the information, the details about the programming language, and so on. But there are a few restrictions to the ChatGPT. One of them is like ChatGPT will not be able to provide the most accurate or the latest information, because the data that was fed to ChatGPT was, ending at 2021. So it won't be able to tell you like what's the weather like today in Istanbul, because I live in Istanbul. And then as you can see, it's just gonna say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm just a text-based AI, and I do not have access to current weather information. My knowledge is based on information that was available to me at the time of my training, which ended in 2021. So it's not gonna give you the latest answers, but it can do a lot of things. And today we'll be writing smart contracts utilizing this tool. So let's just get started. um I'm just going to delete that conversation and then start over. So I have been trying out this tool. One thing we can do is like we can ask, can you write me a smart contract? We can directly go into the matter. It's gonna provide something, but again, as I've said, as I've used before, it's just gonna ask you what do you want to do, and then explain the smart contract, and then it gives you the steps that you should be following. You should be like, it asks you define the purpose and the goal of the contract. So what do you want a contract to accomplish? And second, determine the variables and data that will be stored in the contract. So it's like, what do you want to store in the contract? And then it tells us to write the code for the contract, which we're not going to be writing today. And then it says test the contract and then deploy the contract. So it's not helpful. So what works best with the chat GPT is that we provide some context to the smart contract or any other thing that we wanted to write. So let's just assume that you're a college student and we have a task that we should be creating a token that is named, maybe we can say physics token, and that will be deployed on the Omchain. So let's just get started with that one. So I am, just to give some context, I am a, let's say, math student in college, and I have a task related to smart contracts. I had to write an ERC20 compliant token for my project. My token should be named I love cats, and the symbol should be meow. Could you write me a smart contract that would work for me? There are a few ways that we can say, but it's just like, it's my way of saying. Now, as you can see, the chat GPT is just writing the actual smart contract. This is me doing nothing. My hands are literally here. Um, I'm not doing any writing. I'm not doing any typing. Everything being written here is done by the AI, the OpenAI's ChatGPT 3. So as you can see, um, it just created a basic smart contract for us to, do it. And then it's just, writing the total supply of tokens and the amount of decimals. Now, so let's just see if we can use this. I am curious. I haven't read the code because I was talking. So now the name of the contract is, let's say that we don't know how to name that contract and how to, write it on the Remix browser. All right. Thank you. Now I want to test the contract with Remix Online IDE. How should I name my file, and what should be the extension? I'm curious whether it's gonna, follow the standards and give us the right name. The extension is right. Um, all right, the naming is right as well. I love cats.soul. And it even tells us the steps to, how we can actually create the file. I didn't know that it knew about Remix. Wow, I'm impressed. So, Jesus, it's even talking about the Solidity debugger and JavaScript VM. So let's just go and do that because I know. Let's just create a new file. I love cats.sol, and then let's just paste it. Warns us about something. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Uh-huh. All right. So one thing here, the OpenZeppelin repo might be moved. So like I don't know if it has been moved. Let's see if we can find that link. Not found. So let's see if we can find, as I previously mentioned, the training of the AI has ended in 2021. So the data is accurate only until 2021. Um, that's why we have to manually go and check out whether if it's still accurate. So now one thing I am seeing is that previous naming was OpenZeppelin slash OpenZeppelin dash Solidity, but now it's under the OpenZeppelin contracts, uh, and then under that folder there is another folder named contracts, and then maybe um, we can go math and safe math. So I'm trying to see if there is like a math here. Maybe, yep, it's moved under the utils library. So all I have to do is now copy this because this is the last version, and then all I have to do is like do that, right? and then try to compile. It's gonna give some error again. It's just gonna say, hey, I couldn't find that safe ERC20 as well. Now I am going back and trying to find that safe ERC here. Today I'm not gonna write any coding. Any errors in the you know codes will be fixed either by replacing links or by the OpenAI's ChatGPT 3. So now I go to token ERC20, and then I can go here. Okay, it's not here. Let's see, utils maybe. All right, save ERC20. So I have copied that link as well, and then I came here. All I have done was like, find some things. So it says that there is no SPDX license identifier on the source code. Now let's just say that, let's just copy that. Okay, I can I? All right, I already copied it. Let's just ask the chat GPT. I am receiving an error like this. How do I fix that? Let's see if it can give us the answer. It even like it even explains what is the problem. Oh my god, Jesus. Jesus, it even tells me, and it even tells us like how we can, all right, all I have to do is right now copy this code and then go back here. All right. So now I am receiving another error. Oh my god. Okay, so let's see. Let's just say VRC20. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I am getting, what am I error getting? Okay. So it tells us that there is a need for a different compiler. Okay. So let me check if I could. All right. So let's just ask, now I am getting this error. Okay. Can you fix this? All right. Okay. We go to here. Okay, not the settings, but actually the compiler part. And then top right corner of the Remix editor, selecting a newer version of Solidity from the compiler version dropdown. So here I'm going to be choosing, let's say, 0.8.0. And then it asks, like, you can even modify the smart contract. So now, again, I'm here. Okay, let's just go and do this. Compile ILO cats. Okay, so it's not fixing it because this one, the ILO cats one, is let's just try that one because there is 0.7.0 here. Let's just use the latest local version. Okay, so this is a compiler error that has nothing to do with what we're doing. Let me just close that one and then open it again. And then, yeah. So one thing I'm gonna do here is, let's just say, how do I update the version of my token contract to Solidity, let's say 0.8.6. Okay, let it modify itself. I'm not gonna write any code, I'll just ask it. Okay, that's the one we need. So all I'm doing is go and replace that one, and then use the latest local version. Okay. Now I have an error here. I received that error. How do I fix it? Mm-hmm. All right, that's okay. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god, let's give it the error. Let's just let's just go back. Sometimes it does that. But wait 1 minute. So we'll be waiting 1 minute. My last reply was not finished, but it makes me wait. I'm set. This isn't helpful. Submitted my feedback. Okay. Okay, let's see how we can fragment solidity. Okay. So these we have already changed. I'm not gonna do any changes to those ones. Okay. Using safe math for alright. That's good. Public total supply. Alright, that's good. Okay, it's actually implementing the token itself. It is implementing the safe ERC20 functions rather than just using the OpenZeppelin implementation. I'm just gonna wait here for it to just like, as you can see, my hands are right here. It's just writing itself. This is basically like you just talk to the computer, right? So if you don't know anything about, programming or smart contracts, of course, this might not be very helpful. But um, what we're doing here is that I know the correct behavior and I know how it should be fixed, but I am just stating the problems that I am encountering. I am just like, hey, look, this is not how it is supposed to be working. So my contract is not working, and then it just helps me fix my contract. All right. Um, so now let's see. We have the constructor. We have the everything. Let's just. Okay. So what's the problem? Visibility for constructor is ignored. So let's just, we can remove that one. Okay. Now let's see what this contract does. Let's show the compile. All right. So we have here, there is something that is minting the total supply. That's okay. And then it provides the balance of, so that we have a mapping here that is, holding the balances of people, which is also public. Um, and then we have the transfer function here. This is the recipient, and then the amount of tokens we want to send, checks the balance, uh, makes sure that the balance is, there. And then it checks whether the amount is larger than 0. So like if I wanted to send 0 tokens, it's not gonna let me do it. Um, Here we are looking the message sender. It's subtracting the amount from the message sender, and then adds the amount of tokens to the recipient, and then it emits a transfer event from to and then the amount. And after that, it implements the transfer from here, more or less. Let's see, more or less the same thing, but there is one problem because when you're doing the transfer from function, you have to first check for the approval, because if you can see here, it's not doing any checks. This is basically like anyone can transfer anyone's tokens, and this is a faulty behavior, which will be asking the OpenAI to fix that problem. And then we have the approve here. It also does not check anything related to, authorization, but no, here it's the message sender's approvals, so that's fine. It's checked by the message sender. And then it returns the allowance from here. Okay, that's good. And then there are the approvals, transfer, and approval events. So I am guessing the only things missing is that this transfer from function. And then the public functions that return the total supply name, symbol, decimals, as well as the balance of an address. So let's just go back and first try to fix that transfer from function. Now, let's just say um, the okay transfer from function uh, right now allows anyone to transfer tokens on behalf of any token holder. This is not safe. This is not secure. Could you please add some allowance check to the function so that only people who has allowance can spend with transfer from function? Okay. Look, now the problem was, yeah, anyone was able to do that. Now it says that yes, still the one who is sending the tokens should have enough amount of tokens. But again, look, look, this is what this doing is basically like checking the allowance first and then doing the transaction and then decreasing the allowance and then doing that. So all I am going to be doing is just, copy that and then, paste it. This is unbelievable. Um Now, and then ask, let's just go. Can you tell me the exact ERC20 specification? So let's say if what is the ERC20 specification? So we're just gonna be asking for that. Okay, name. Okay, symbol. Decimals. The total supply. Uh-huh. So look, the balance of it knows that there should be a function named balance of, but it didn't implement that one in our smart contract. Now, don't do it, but it's still learning from us. As you can see, this time it's writing the smart contract in 0.8.6, version 0.8.6. The reason why it does is that the OpenAI's ChatGPT, if you're talking while talking, it learns about your preferences. So if you previously mentioned that you were getting errors and you tried to upgrade your smart contract, the next time that it's gonna be writing a smart contract for you, it's gonna be using that setting unless tell it to do otherwise. And another problem with the ChatGPT is that if you can see right now here, the answer was left cut off. So it's usually if you have a long response to your question, or if your question is too long, the chat just gets interrupted because probably because in the server there's some excess overloads or the memory issues, so it's cut off in the middle. So what we can do is like, your last response was left unfinished. Could you continue? Oh, oh. And then all we have to do is like ask it to just continue, and then it will just do the thing. And now this time we have specifically asked it to, previously include those allowance checks. As you can see, the new implementation of the transfer from for the example smart contract includes that one. But again, here, look, we have the approve function, allowance function. We have the transfer from here, we have the transfer here, but we still don't have a function named balance off. All right, thank you. Going back to our contract, I think we are missing the balance of function from these. Then there, how do we add that? Because we're missing that one. Okay, so we already have the mapping. So all we have to do right now is just copy that one and then go here and then maybe add it here. All right. I believe that's pretty much done. So now all I have to do is I'll just copy that one and then can you check if my contract is ERC20? Now, look, it even tells me that my contract is ERC20. Look, I'm happy. I'm happy with my implementation. Thank you. Thank you, OpenAI. But there is a one small problem. It's the safe math library. Because after version Solidity 0.8.0, right now the EVM makes those overflow and underflow checks itself. So we don't actually need to implement the safe math library for our smart contract because in case there is an overflow or underflow error, it just fixes itself automatically. And also another thing here, we don't need the safe ERC20 because we haven't implemented anything related to the safe ERC20. So let's just ask it about those two issues. First, starting with the safe math library. Now, I haven't used anything from the safe math library. Should it still be in my code? Let's just ask it. Okay, sorry, safe ERC20. That is my bad. This is my bad. This is my bad. This was the wrong question. I'm sorry. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, sorry, I meant the save here C20 library. You already know my token contract. Okay, okay, these are just no. Okay, so this is okay, so one thing here is that I actually am not using the safe, you know, safe ERC20 library here. Safe ERC20 library is important if you're developing smart contracts. Um, that are going to be storing some tokens, or that are going to be calling transfer from functions from other contracts. What I mean by that is, initially in the ERC20 standard, if you can go to, okay, now I don't need all those things. Let's just go 820. So now if you can go here, as you can see, the function transfer should be returning a bool value, which means that in the case that, everything is, nice, everything is going as expected, this should be returning some bool value, both of those functions, actually all the functions here. So if it's not returned, the safe transfer, safe ERC20 smart contract here, if we can go to that website real quick, makes sure that your transfer was, executed accordingly. So here, look here, that's the one. Now what we do is, basically, if I'm implementing a smart contract, that is going to be calling safe transfer, transfer from function from another contract that I don't know if it's ERC20 compliant, because if we can go to etherscan.io, and if you can look for BNB, is there a BNB token here? Okay, look, let's just go to the contract of BNB, and then that's the code here. Look, okay, so as you can see here, for the BNB token here, the function transfer takes the address as the input and the uint 256 as the value. But as you can see, no visibility is specified and there is no value returned. Whereas in the transfer from, even though visibility is not specified, bool success response is being returned. So here, that's what's missing from that contract. And if you were implementing some, how do I say, you were implementing some smart contract that was going to be calling this function, this transfer function from the, BNB tokens smart contract, then you might have some errors. That's why OpenZeppelin has a wrapper library around the ERC20 standard, and you use it for those purposes, just to make sure that, the transfer or transfer from functions happen correctly. So now in our case, we actually don't need it because we're actually developing the token ourselves. So I'm just going to be removing it. And then I'll go back and say, starting from Solidity 0.8.0, the need for safe math library is gone. Now, can you re-implement my smart contract without safe math library? Let's just see if it can, re-implement. And as you can see, because I didn't specifically specify my license, now I'm here using, oh, here also I am using unlicensed. Okay, I thought I was using MIT license. So because I have copied that one, and asked the OpenAI about my smart contracts compliance with OpenZeppelin's, my compliance with ERC20 standards, it learned that I was using unlicensed as my license identifier. So I'm just going to fix it later on. Now, let's see what it is doing here. Okay, those are the correct things. Transfer from sufficient balance, even providing some. Okay, your last response was left unfinished. Continue, please. Okay, so all I have to do now is to just copy all those things until what? Transfer from is missing. Right, we have to do that again. Right now, that's here. It assumed that it gave me the transfer from function. No problem. We're gonna be implementing that here. Okay. Transfer from was also missing from your reply because it was left unfinished. Okay. Check that the caller has a recorded allowance. That's good. All right, that I can accept. Now let's just copy that one as well. And then all we have to do is, there we go. Try to compile. Um, did I copy that one twice? Because of the mapping thing here. Let's just, I have this error. Okay. Please don't write the entire contract. Just don't write the entire contract, please. Oh my god, Jesus. Why are you rewriting the entire contract? Okay, it's not touching the, yep. It's just like not touching the, oh, okay, because it's changing that one. All right, so I'm just gonna be doing this rather than this. So I'm gonna be changing all this to this because like I don't want to waste any more time with this. All right, so more or less I think we're almost done here. Also, A20 states that, let's see, where is the standard? Okay, we will just say that it states. Let's just do that. Okay. You see, we said that it is not, the right smart contract, so it's just. I renamed the balance of mapping to balance of, and you fix the functions according to that. I'll just ask the last thing and then we'll be done with this smart contract. Okay. It's good to go, I think. Come on. So that's usually how I do it, because if you just ask for something, it still provides some answers to your question, but it does not provide the exact or the right answer to your question often if you're doing the programming thing. So right now for this version of the OpenAI's ChatGPT, you won't be able to get smart contracts that are like fault proof. On the other hand, if you know what you're doing, even if you don't know how to write Solidity or smart contracts, or like you're not familiar with uh, the terms in that smart contract, you can just ask it to fix it. right? All you have to do is just like read your smart contract, see if there are any errors or anything, and then just ask it to fix it. But if I haven't provided those, like the information from the Ape20's website, it probably might not be able to fix that error. But I have provided, and I was like, hey, I know that it's being said like this on the website. So why don't you fix it? And then it's just like, okay, I'm gonna fix it. So let's just do this, and then everything seems all right. Now all I have to do is just go to the injected provider. That's my wallet address, and then I will just deploy I love cats. There we go. I haven't missed anything from the codes. All right, it's already on the Explorer. Let's see. All right, there you go. And also those optional things like the name, symbol, and the decimals, because these are optional. You know, it did not specify me to add those things. But if you can see here, I have deployed the smart contract. But because there is no name or symbol or decimal, the block explorer is not seeing it as if it's a token. So now I will try to add this thing manually to my wallet just to see if it shows up. I'm going to be like add some token, and then I will be like, okay, it even shows up in my wallet. I now have, 1 million meow tokens. And I'm gonna be like, I'll be sending some of those tokens to someone who has been transacting on the blockchain. Let's see this address here. I'll just randomly choose from the block explorer. It's loading. All right. So that's the wallet address. I'm gonna be sending, you know, some meow tokens. So I'm just gonna be copy that, and then I can maybe send 100 meow tokens. And I'm gonna pay some excess gas fee on this because why not? Okay. So I am just sending, let's see, some meow tokens here. As you can see, I have transferred. Let's click here. I have sent 100 meow tokens to some wallet address that I have randomly chosen in the blockchain explorer. So now it's very important that the technological advancements right now we have. I mean, like we could have done the same thing with the Open Zeppelin's contract wizard, but here we have the chance to modify our smart contract. Here we have the chance to have it has some different functions that we want it to have. For example, I might be able to ask, can you add minting function so that anytime I want, I can mint more meow. Let's just ask that. It even mentions an owner, and then all I have to do is like, but my contract doesn't have an. Let's just do this owner, variable. Look. Oh my god, this is like, as I was writing, it just tells me that you have to have this owner. Unbelievable. This is just, this is, this is unbelievable. And then it even tells us that we need to have the mint event. Your last response was unfinished. Continue, please. This is just unbelievable. I don't know. I am like, I don't know. I don't know. I am glad that right now. Let's just add it somewhere here. I'm glad that this technological advancement. I'm glad that this is here. But I also personally know that this is gonna be causing a lot of people to lose their jobs, because if you look at it from the developer's perspective or the business owner's perspective, um it's like I didn't know anything about smart contracts. I didn't know, let's say I didn't know anything about smart contracts. So all I have to do is just like, use this to come up with some things that I can play around. And if I wanted to ask, you know, how to fix things or what's the meaning of something, like let's just add this minting function here and then ask, um, can you tell me why it's called minting? And then it even explains that. Eunice, it's probably because the chat GPT can only remember up to 2048 different words. It might be upgraded recently, if I'm not aware of. I don't know whether if it is updated or not. I'm not aware of any updates. Um, if it's not updated and if your code is exceeding that, 2048 words thing, it forgets what you have previously said if it was not again mentioned in the context. So we are right now here. The chat GPT probably forgot that we were, even here. So it forgets that the memory of the model is not going that back. So that's probably why if you do that, it forgets your code and starts giving how do I say, wrong answers. So usually what I do while coding with this one is that I ask it to solve some specific problems. I ask it to solve how do I say, some certain piece of code, or I'm asking for it to program some iteration or define a function that does only a specific thing. So overall what I do is like, can you write an outline for a smart contract written in Solidity that will be a token bridge? Let's see if it comes up with something. I don't know. So usually what I do is when I'm writing something as well, just ask it to come up with some outline. And then with that outline, I'm just asking it to implement, let's say, the first section, and then asking it to implement the second section, and then the third section. Then it doesn't have to know anything about the, you know, uh, previous uh, conversations as well as code pieces. So this is what I do. Eunice, the thing is like if you ask, yes, if you can, like let's say I don't know how to drive a car, right? If I ask like how can I drive a car, then it's just gonna give a general answer. But first what you do is like, hey, I don't know how to drive a car, could you give me some steps on how I can learn how to drive a car? And then it's gonna give you like maybe 7 steps, and then you gotta be like, what's the first step, how do I do it, go into more details, and then if it also has more steps, then go into details of those as well. So think of it like a branches of a tree, and then as you complete those branches, you just take a step back and go to the other branches. And when you want to make the full connection, you just say like, hey, I followed that road, I have done already all those things, I'm on that step, previously you have told me this, now what do I do? And then it tells you that, oh, you have already completed like the first, second, and third step, and if you're already on the fourth step, then you should be doing those things. So that's usually how it goes. That's usually how it goes with me, because you know look, it tried to write a smart contract. This is like nonsense. This is literally like Um, maybe not. Mm, transfer from source chain, bridge, transfer from source chain. Okay, so this is nonsense. Uh, please don't write the code. Just give me an overview for a set of smart contracts that will act like a bridge. So that's what it is. Source chain ERC20 contract. So it's basically like how you do it. You just ask like a general overview, and then you write the source ERC20 contract, and then you do the destination, and then the source chain bridge contract, and then just ask the variables to be defined here and the overall structure. How would I set up the authorization on my source chain bridge contract? You see, it's like you don't ask for the exact final code and then ask just some snippets of code that can do the thing. I mean, like, this is not the correct implementation, and whether this is a wrong way of doing things. Rather than using an array, I should be like we could be using a mapping that holds a boolean value for the addresses and just adjust that, but still gives out some understanding of what we can actually do. Now, and let's just ask, rather than using an array, can you use mapping for raised addresses? Look, this is the right way of doing things. So right now it does not know, probably does not remember anything related to our token contract. It already forgot that. It's like writing an authorization scenario here. But all I can do is like I can copy all those codes. Look, it's just doing the thing that you ask it to do it. I mean, not in the right way, but it even, oh my god, Jesus. Implements the message hash, EC recover, gives you an overall idea. All right. So now that, our smart contract is deployed and we see the Meow token on the blockchain, it's time that, we end the fourth episode of DevLog. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining me with this live stream today. Today we have dived deep with the OpenAI's ChatGPT, and we have explored how we can actually utilize it for writing programs, especially smart contracts, and how we can deploy smart contracts on the Omchain blockchain. So again, it's not the perfect tool to write smart contracts, but again, it's good for many other things, and especially for languages like maybe Python, it's gonna help you a lot. Let's do one final example in Python, and then it's time for me to go. So let's just say, write me a function in Python that returns the day of the month based on the input time in Unix timestamp. So for how do I say, more established language with more it just provides you the even the output. All right, so that's how you use the function, and then you can ask for other functions as well rather than going into Stack Overflow and asking the same question over and over again. I hope this episode was helpful for everyone who have been watching so far and who will be watching from the replay. Thanks a lot for joining me on the fourth episode of Omchain DevLog, and hope to see you soon again next month, probably on another Omchain DevLog. See you soon.